This is the Bax Grant Sports Show. Baxter Colburn with you, next to Grant Coppersmith. Did Connor just break his arm? I'm not really sure what happened. Connor Christensen here. You know who you are. Connor Christensen is here with us in the studio today as well.
Funny bone.
Oh, you hit your funny bone. Okay. Connor and Grant like to do a little bit of drumming when the intro plays, and nearly had to stop the show and send Connor to the hospital. That's not in our insurance plan. We can't cover that if you hurt yourself.
That's okay.
You didn't sign a waiver. So.
I didn't sign it.
So we're not. Did you?
Yeah, I said it.
We're not liable.
I
don't know. I don't know what Grant had you sign, but I don't know. Anyway, how are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah?
As well as I can be. I'm gonna cry, I think, but I can get over it.
It happens.
I'll live.
I know. Connor, I feel like, shares our remorse, though, since he's a Vikings fan.
I understand what you're going through. And I was also very upset by that game, too.
Yes. I think a lot of people were, honestly. We're referencing the Green Bay Packers 28-22 overtime loss to the Seattle Seahawks yesterday in the NFC Championship game. Before we jump into that, we do want to just thank all of you listeners for your consistent following. Make sure to like us on Facebook at the Bax Grant Sports Show. And then also download our podcast on iTunes as well, and keep up to date with us and what's going on. And Grant and I do our best we can to stay active with you on Facebook and any other way as well. And feel free to say hi to us if you see us on the street. We know we're pretty big time celebrities now, so only 2 photographs per person, but we will do our best to say hello to you.
And I will autograph just one. Just one autograph.
Okay, just one autograph. Will you sign babies?
Maybe. That's a little bit of a stretch, but for a certain person, I will maybe sign their forehead.
You guys are literally hilarious. This is really funny.
Is it?
Thank you.
It's hilarious.
Is it? Oh, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm laughing so
I
hard.
can tell. Our studio audience of none is just having a great time today. Anyway. Moving along. But anyway, thank you again for all of that, and make sure to continue to follow us and like us and tweet. Well, we can't tweet at us, but you get the idea. So, anyway, Seahawks, Packers. We're going to talk both of the NFC Championship or NFC AFC Championship games. Talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, a little bit about the Pro Bowl since it kind of has a barely sliver of recognition now in the NFL world. Talk about John Fox getting hired in Chicago, and then finish up the show with a little Fact or Fiction, and then we pit Grant against Connor in NFL trivia, a battle to the death where the loser. I don't even know. I'm not sure what's going to happen. They're swinging punches already. We're not even to that part of the show yet, guys. Jeez. Children these days. I swear. I have to do everything myself. I expected better. Can't take you guys anywhere. Anyway, so Seahawks Packers. A lot of people are freaking out, rightfully so, in a good and bad way. If you're a Seahawks fan, it is more than likely probably the greatest comeback in Seattle Seahawks history. I think a lot of people would agree with. Being down 16-0 at halftime, and then even being down, I believe it was 16 or 19 to 7. It was 19-7 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, and the fact that the Seahawks were able to muster up points in a very quick succession, 15 points in 44 seconds, to take the lead, and then Mason Crosby nailed a 48-yard field goal to send the game to overtime, and then Seattle got the ball first in overtime and then scored, resulting in a 28-22 victory. A lot of different talking points you could look at through this game. A total of 6 interceptions thrown between the two quarterbacks. I don't think that's something you'd ever really hear from Russell Wilson. I was honestly surprised that Russell Wilson got such bad luck, because I would say at least 3 of those interceptions were not his fault, Grant. I think a lot of it was just kind of a ricochet, and then the ball was just flying in the air, and the right guy just happened to be in the area. But give us your thoughts, Grant, about the quarterbacks yesterday and what your initial reaction was to seeing how they did.
The quarterbacks really weren't all that good. Looking at the Seattle passing, one of the touchdowns wasn't even thrown by Russell Wilson. It was thrown by the punter, and Russell Wilson's quarterback rating was 44.3. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, 14 for 29 with 209 yards. And that was mostly at the end of the game. In the third quarter, his stats were just non-existent. Going into the half, he threw more interceptions than he did to complete passes. It it was just absolutely horrible performance by Russell Wilson. Now, Aaron Rodgers, he had a better game, but I wouldn't say he had that great of a game.
No, I would agree with that.
He had some not the greatest throws. He had time. He had protection. He just didn't play like the Aaron Rodgers in throughout the regular season.
Yeah.
And I also think part of that is also because of Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy did really well at the beginning of the game, and then all of a sudden Mike McCarthy basically didn't give him the ball at all. And so the Seattle defense could just read past the entire time, and towards the end of the game, he struggled. He started off okay, and then just tapered off towards the end.
Yeah, I guess you could make that. And it's never a good idea when your punter finishes with a better quarterback rating than your starting quarterback. Although the rating, John Ryan finished the day yesterday, 1 pass, 19 yards and a touchdown. He had a 158.3 quarterback rating, which is a bit ridiculous. I mean, it was one throw, so it's a very inaccurate idea of what exactly he did. It was one throw, but still went for a touchdown. The first touchdown of the game for the Seahawks, which I think threw a lot of people off. But yeah, it was interesting to see the fact of how Green Bay kind of got too relaxed with the game in the fourth quarter with about 5 minutes left. Morgan Burnett picked off Russell Wilson for the fourth time, Russell's fourth time, and the Packers tried to run the ball 2 straight times. I think they lost about 8 or 9 yards total on those first 2 plays because nobody decided to block. And then they tried to throw a stop route to Andrew Corliss, who tried to catch it with his pecs instead of his hands, and that didn't really go well for anybody. But yeah, Connor, give us your inside opinion, or your outside opinion, I guess, as a Minnesota Vikings fan. It's public knowledge that you are a Vikings fan, but you guys dealt with this a few years ago when Brett Favre took you guys to the NFC Championship game and you lost to the Saints. The Packers haven't been to an NFC Championship game and lost since then. We went to an NFC Championship game and won, and then went to the Super Bowl. But give us, Grant and I are Packer fans, give us that. How do we cope, appropriately, especially when it comes to interceptions and all the build-up and hype and not really being expected that you were going to win the game.
So everything I'm used to as a Minnesota
basically, yeah. So give a day in the life of a Vikings fan, basically.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of crying. No,
yes.
I'm just kidding. No. I think... See, the Packer fans are not used to what I'm used to as a Vikings fan, because I go into each and every game usually assuming that I'm going to lose.
And you're a proud Vikings fan,
I am
too,
a very proud
which
Vikings
is
fan.
very rare, honestly.
Yes, no, I am extremely proud to be a Vikings fan. We don't do very well, and when we do, we usually end it ourselves by mistakes on our
like, we're
on our
awesome!
end.
Nah, we're not.
Yeah, we're going to win this game. Interception. Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
So when I go into a game, I'm automatically not going to be fazed by the outcome. So, as a Vikings fan, if we had made it to the championship, I'd put on a show, I'd be upset, but in reality, I actually probably wouldn't be that upset. It would be more along the lines of, well, we made it this far, so I'm proud of us.
Sure, yeah.
So I guess if my one piece of advice for Packer fans would be to look forward, focus on the good things that happened, focus on looking for ways that, well, I mean, obviously you don't make decisions with the team, but I like to yell at the TV and hope that they listen to me. But try to think of ways that you could make the team better, and try to see how that will go into next season, and maybe something that you thought in your head is something that actually McCarthy does or the organization does, and then you'll feel better.
Yeah, and a lot of people are really saying that the special teams coach is to blame for this game more than Mike McCarthy. But it's hard to really understand because a lot of the different play calls, I think I was listening to ESPN Milwaukee today, and they were talking about that. There were about 5 to 10 different instances that happened within basically the fourth quarter of the game that had one of them just gone right, Green Bay would have won the game. Mm-hmm. So to give Seattle that many opportunities and not be able to capitalize on yourself because of that, it really hurt Green Bay in the long run. And anytime a team loses in the playoffs, there's always that talk at the end of the season. It's like, okay, is someone getting fired? But I really don't think Mike McCarthy's going to get fired just because of this result.
Well, it's really easy as a fan to blame one of the coaches for bad play call. In your mind, you didn't agree with the play call, but on the field, when they have to make those decisions, then they're making the decision that they feel is best in that moment. For us to question them is like, well, could we do any better? Could I go out on the field and tell the special teams how to get the ball back?
Yeah,
there's no way. That the coach makes the decision that he can, and the players have to do it.
Do their best to respect it and follow through.
Well, and it's kind of like if you have a controversial play call and it goes the way you wanted it to go, you'd be like, oh, that was such a great call. Mm-hmm. But then if it ended negatively, you would say, oh, that's such a terrible call. They should fire them. Why did they do that? And I agree with you in some ways that, yeah, it was the right call at the field at the right time, but some of the calls I definitely did not agree with, especially in the first quarter when they had those crucial field goals that could, if they were touchdowns, the Seahawks wouldn't even have a chance of going into overtime, even competing in this game. I felt like if not the first one, the second field goal, they should have tried to go for the touchdown. In my mind, I know why you want to get points on the board and try to get up, but if you're going against the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game and you're on the 2-yard line, I feel like getting a field goal is unacceptable.
No,
you need to
not.
get a touchdown.
There's no reason for that they should not have gone for that, because even if you don't make it for some reason, Seattle gets the ball inside their own 5-yard line twice. Mm-hmm. And Green Bay's defense looked really good for most of the game yesterday, and I feel like they would have been able to apply the needed pressure to shut him down.
For the record, I was not implying that the call that was made by the coaches was the one perfect call. Right. The only thing that I was trying to say was that the coach makes the call that he feels is best at the time.
Right.
So
yeah, I was just segueing.
I agree with you with what you said. So yeah, we're on the same page.
Sure. All right. Well, regardless of that, Seattle moves on. Green Bay gets to enjoy the offseason now for a little bit. The 5 Packer players selected to the Pro Bowl, I'm sure, will make their way down to Hawaii shortly so that they can participate. I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers is going to or not because of his status with his calf injury, but I feel like at least the other 4 players will be on their way down there. Switching over to the AFC, though, people are having a bit of a hard time understanding how the Patriots would do what they just did to the Colts by beating them 45-7 in the AFC Championship game. You look at that score and you think that might be like a game sometime before like the midway part of the season where, the Colts are still trying to figure everything out and the Patriots just got really lucky. But in complete honesty, this game, from a New England standpoint, everything ran perfect for them. Yeah, Tom Brady threw 1 interception, but I think that's minimal compared to what everybody else on the field did that night. A guy in LeGarrette Blount, who has kind of been playing ping pong with teams that he's been on this season. He was all over the place, I feel like, for a part of the season. I think he was in Pittsburgh for a little bit of time, and then I think he ended up somewhere else as well. But for him to go out and have a game like he did for 30 carries, 148 yards, and 3 touchdowns, I think is impressive on a lot of standpoints, and I think will be a huge part of New England's attack when they go against Seattle in the Super Bowl. Grant, what were your thoughts on this game?
Well, looking at the Colts, I don't always necessarily think of the Colts as a team that could get to the AFC Championship game. I was actually a little shocked when they did, and I wasn't expecting them to put up much of a fight. I think they're a good team, but they're really inconsistent. What you were saying before, that you would think this would be a score at the middle of the season, the Cowboys pretty much did this to the Colts near the end of the season. And that's the point where you pretty much have to have everything figured out. And it seems that they really haven't, and it really showed in this game. If you are losing 45-7 in an AFC Championship game, that's really not the effort that you want to be seeing.
Yeah, that's completely true. The Colts, Andrew Luck did not have a good game at all. He was 12 of 33 for no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He boasted a QB rating of 17, so not good by any means. Their offense struggled. Doug Huron, their leading rusher, had 10 carries for 51 yards. His longest of the night was 17. T.Y. Hilton was held to 1 reception. Colby Fleener only had 3. Hakeem Nicks only had 1 catch. Reggie Wayne didn't have any. He was targeted twice but didn't catch the ball once. It just really didn't look like the Indianapolis Colts team that I think a lot of people coming into this game really thought was capable of potentially upsetting the Patriots. I know some people were calling for a Packers-Colts Super Bowl, which I don't think would have been very interesting because I think Green Bay would have done the same thing that that New England did to Indianapolis. But you never really know. I think this is good for the confidence of the Colts in terms of saying, hey, we are capable of making it this far, but Indy is still a very young/inexperienced team, and they have a lot of gaps to fill come their offseason now. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to chat about the Super Bowl, and we're going to get Grant's rant as well. This is the Bax Grant Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. I think that's what a lot of Packer fans are saying right now is that they don't care. Well, actually, no, I'm pretty sure they do care because that's just kind of how Packer fans are. But anyway, this is the Bax Grant Sports Show. Welcome back. Baxter Colburn with you. Grant Coppersmith here as well. And we're joined by Connor Christensen, our resident Vikings fan. But we still love him for it. I'm actually wearing Vikings purple today, Connor. You will be.
It doesn't really count, though, because, it doesn't have the Viking on it.
It's a whatever shirt it is. It's an Apartment 9 shirt. Or I don't know. It's an undershirt, and I just happen to have it on.
You're just trying to feel good about wearing purple around me, I guess.
Anyway, we're going to move on. Talk about the Super Bowl now a little bit. The New England Patriots, Tom Brady making his NFL record 6th Super Bowl appearance, and they will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks defense might have seen one of their stronger part of their wings, as it were, clipped yesterday as Richard Sherman injured his left arm during the Packers game. He's getting an MRI today on it, so there's no clear status yet of what has happened to him or if he will be. He won't be out for that game. More than likely, he will find a way to play through that game because it is a Super Bowl. But early predictions, guys, for Patriots Seahawks.
Well, my want and my predictions are probably going to be a little different.
Oh, all right.
What I want to happen is the Patriots, due to what the Seahawks did to Denver last year. I want to see the Seahawks absolutely destroyed, and that will happen if Russell Wilson played exactly like he played against the Packers yesterday. But I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I still think the Patriots are going to win, but it's not going to be like the Super Bowl that we had last year. And Tom Brady plays like he did against the Colts, I feel like there's going to be no problem. Keys in this game, it's LeGarrette Blount. If he has the game, especially like he did against the Colts, Seattle's not gonna fare very well. Even though they stopped Green Bay, like I said before, I feel like that was more of a play calling thing. But even though they did stop Green Bay fairly decently in rushing, they're still going to have a problem with him going into the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Connor, who are you taking?
I'm taking Patriots within a position.
By how much?
We'll say 10.
Patriots by 10. Okay,
Patriots
Connor.
By 10.
I like the Patriots personally. I think that yes, the Seahawks won, but they were not. They did not deserve to win.
They were not the better team.
No, they were definitely not the better team. With the way they played, they should not have won that game.
Yes.
And the fact that they did, I don't know if it really. It does something for their momentum. Yes, they won. They won the championship. They're off the high of that. However, it's not as clear-cut as the Patriots coming off of a 45-7 win. They're going to be steamrolling.
Yes.
And especially because the Patriots just threw it in the Colts' faces in that game. There was a 4th and 4 where the Patriots decided to go for it on the 35-yard line, and they got it. And they had no business going for it on 4th down, but they did anyway because they're the Patriots, and why not?
because YOLO, that's why.
Exactly. I don't think anyone has to worry about Tom Brady playing like he did because Tom Brady plays like he does. And Tom Brady's Tom Brady. There's nothing to worry about with him. As where with Russell Wilson, you have to say, if Russell Wilson plays well, then they'll do well. But with Tom Brady, it's Tom Brady. He's going to play well.
Yeah.
And I also...
But don't you think people thought that way about Peyton Manning last year too, though?
Well, yes, definitely. But you see, the difference between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady is Peyton Manning is declining.
Sure.
Tom Brady is not.
That's very true.
I have huge amounts of respect for both of them. They have been consistently the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL for a really, really long time. Aaron Rodgers comes in that mix now that he's in the league. But the 3 of them are definitely the 3 best in the league and have been for years. However, you can clearly see Peyton Manning's performances decline.
Yes.
And
we saw that the second half of the season.
Exactly. And Tom Brady, you have not seen that. Even when he didn't have targets, he still he impales the receivers with the ball so they can't help but catch it. So he makes you look good as a receiver because he's Tom Brady. And I think that Peyton Manning did that a little bit, but not as much as Tom Brady does. And I think Tom Brady has better weapons than the Seahawks, than Russell Wilson.
Yep.
So you have a better quarterback, a way better quarterback in Tom Brady than Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
You have better targets from the Patriots to the Seahawks. And I do think that the Seahawks defense will be an issue because the Seahawks defense they're monsters. They're really, really good. However, I think a better offense on the Patriots will be able to counteract that, and I think as long as they can tackle beast mode, I think the defense on the Patriots side will come out on top. So I'm taking the Patriots by 14.
Patriots by 14. Wow. Okay.
And especially what you're saying about the defense with Richard Sherman being injured.
Exactly.
That's their biggest shutdown corner. Mm-hmm. And even if he does play, like against a Packer game, I don't know why they didn't target him because you can't even move effectively as well as you can because your balance kind of it's thrown off when you only have one effective arm. So even if he does play, he's definitely going to be limited. So that's also going to play a huge part.
Yeah, I saw the injury happen, and I can tell you now, after a week, he's not going to be 100%.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
He gets 2 weeks, but either way, though,
even
this type
still,
of injury
I don't think he'll be 100%.
Type of injury he sustained, he will not be in a good spot by that point.
Because you could visually see the pain on his face. Whenever the camera was on him, he looked like his arm was... He wished it had fallen off.
And he's not a weak guy by any
not.
means.
He's tough. A lot of respect for his ability to play football, too. And for him to be in that much pain, you know that really hurt.
Yeah, certainly. You look at this game, though, from a lot of perspectives. I have to agree with both of you on certain points that you made. I think that if Seattle loses this game, it will be more so the fact of not having consistent wide receivers. I think Seattle needs to get their act together this offseason and go out and either draft a wide receiver or sign a big-time wide receiver to help Russell Wilson out because Russell Wilson has made a name for himself not by the number of passing touchdowns that he has thrown, but by the amount of plays that he is able to extend and use his feet. Mm-hmm. So I think that was... Michael Vick dealt with that a little bit too when he was at the Falcons early in his career. They did have some decent wide receivers, but you look at the Seattle wide receivers and... Doug Baldwin is the only wide receiver that I think a casual NFL fan would know. But even that is a bit of a stretch. But Seattle needs to go out and find wide receivers. And if they lose this game, it's because Darrelle Revis and the Patriots defense, Brandon Browner, Vince Wilfork, a lot of those guys were able to shut down that passing game. And then especially if they shut down Marshawn Lynch, Seattle's going to have nowhere to go. They don't have any consistent wide receiver products to throw the balls to. So I think that's really going to come back and hurt. And that's why I thought Green Bay was going to win the game yesterday as well, because I'm like, Seattle has no wide receivers. They really don't. And if they win the game because of their wide receivers, I'm going to be in a lot of shock. And sure enough, that was a good play, to have Russell Wilson throw the ball to Kearse that ended up for a touchdown. But either way, though, you saw a lot of miscues, a lot of bobbled passes that resulted in interceptions for the Seahawks. They don't have a sure set of hands like the Packers do, or even like the Patriots do as well. Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Rob Gronkowski. You could go on and on with some of those guys. Brandon LaFell. They've got depth at wide receiver and tight end, and I think that is going to be a huge turning point. I think that Seattle, just because they're Seattle, is going to keep the game close, but I think Tom Brady's going to win his 4th Super Bowl, but it's going to be by less than 7 points. So that's my thought. I think that New England has done a terrific job this year. Seattle, you can never count them out of any game. And if Seattle does win, it will not surprise me, honestly, just because they seem to have that knack for coming out of nowhere and really just making people mad and going against the odds as well. According to ESPN Sports Nation, the Patriots are considered a 59% chance favorite to win the Super Bowl, according to everybody around the country. Go figure, the only 2 states that have voted higher for the Seahawks and the Patriots are Washington and Oregon. So, with that being said, even in the international poll results, the Patriots are still considered heavy favorites in this game as well. So, Grant, Connor, and I are all taking the Patriots to win. Connor's got them by 14, Grant's got them by 10, I've got them by less than 7. So it'll be interesting to see, but go Patriots, I guess, if we all want to say that. But yeah, Grant, are you ready to do your rant now, sir?
Oh, I'm more than ready.
All right. All right, for those that don't know, Grant's Rant is a special part of the show where Grant gets 30 seconds to rant about anything he wants in the sports world. Clothed, unclothed, censored, uncensored. Oh, there goes the clothing. No, just kidding. His clothes are on. Well, this is radio, so I could be lying. We're actually all naked in the studio.
Don't let me in with this.
Connor's naked in the studio.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Anyway, no one's naked. No one's naked, I promise. This is a family show. Jeepers. Anyway. So, Grant, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 30 seconds on the clock. Grant, get set, go.
The Seattle Seahawks beat the Green Bay Packers yesterday in overtime, and the NFL overtime rules is what I'm going to be talking about because I feel like it is unfair. It used to be whoever scored the first points wins the game, and that was completely ridiculous because you get down, kick a field goal, and you win. Woo! But now it's if you get a touchdown, you still win. But I feel like the other team should be able to get the ball. The Green Bay Packers gave up a touchdown, and then they lose the game, even though Aaron Rodgers never got a chance to touch it in overtime. It's not just this game; it's been other games. It's a problem.
Time's up. All right. Well, there's a lot of people shouting in Green Bay right now after yesterday's game, but such is life. They'll get over it. Maybe they can hug a few Colts fans and that life will be better. So this is the Bax Grant Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Nobody else wants to sing?
I'm good. Thanks.
You don't want to shout?
Not really.
You make me want to shout, though, Connor.
Probably because his team didn't make it into the playoffs.
Oh, the playoffs!
Or they don't have a Pro Bowl pick.
Oh, there it is. Great segue, Grant.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to give Connor 1 minute.
Oh, really?
To state his case why he thinks Harrison Smith...
Hang on. No, do something else first.
...needs to... So, Grant, how's life? Good to see you.
It's going well.
Good.
It's going really good.
We're talking about the NFL Pro Bowl. The Fantasy Pro Bowl, I'm sorry. There are a numerous amount of players selected this season. A lot of great talent. I would kill to have even like 2 of them on my fantasy team, but well, that's why I didn't make the playoffs this year. Anyway.
The playoffs!
The playoffs! All right. So, Connor's a little upset because no Vikings players made it to the Pro Bowl. I almost said the Super Bowl, but I was like, that doesn't seem possible.
Actually, one player made it to the Super Bowl.
Wow! He got tickets early. And how did they not get players? You know, things of that nature. So, Connor's upset because the Vikings did not get any players. So he is now going to tell us in 1 minute why the one player he thinks that should have made it. Do you think there's anybody else aside from him?
Well, I mean, you could make a case for others, but this one player is...
Yeah, so Connor's going to get 1 minute to talk about one player he feels that should have made it and one player he feels should not have made it.
Yes.
Are you ready, Connor?
I am ready.
Connor will get 1 minute to the tune of Sweet Alabama to tell us why one player for the Vikings should have made it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, ready, go.
Number 22, free safety, Harrison Smith. That is who I think should have made it to the Pro Bowl. Now, the person that did make it is going to the Super Bowl, actually. His name is Earl Thomas, number 29 of the Seahawks. Now then, why should Harrison Smith make it over Earl Thomas? Well, let me tell you why.
Please
I will
tell
go
us.
over some stats with you.
Please, I like it when you talk to a statty.
I should get that time back for my minute. Interceptions. Earl Thomas had 1 before the Pro Bowl selection was announced. Harrison Smith had 5. Tackles. Earl Thomas had an impressive 85 tackles. Harrison Smith had 89 tackles. Again, besting the free safety. Earl Thomas had 1 more forced fumble and 2 than Harrison Smith's 1. And Earl Thomas only had 47 yards after interceptions, and Harrison Smith had 150. Overall, Harrison Smith did better in just about every way, and yet did not make it.
That's what I think about all that. My goodness. Well, that is very sad, though.
It is. It's heartbreaking.
It is. It's heartbreaking when a player like that does so good all season and does not get the recognition he deserves. And I think a lot of it does go back to the fact of, he plays for the Vikings, and then the Seahawks were doing so well, and you can make that case back and forth for a lot of players. I'm really confused how the Raiders got a player to go to the Pro Bowl, but he's a fullback, so they'll only take 2. But you look at a guy like Jerome Felton; he had a pretty good year for the Vikings.
Jerome Felton's a good
yeah, why did he not get selected? But the fantasy Pro Bowl this year sees a lot of players selected. The Patriots and the Packers both sending 5 players. If you didn't think that the league liked to stuff the ballot boxes, I would take a gander at Dallas and also at Denver. Dallas sending 7 players to the Pro Bowl, and then you look at Denver, they send 8 players to the Pro Bowl. Yeah. But if you look at Denver, though, at the same time, I would say most of these guys deserve to be there. Julius Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, Aqib Talib, Emmanuel Sanders, and then the other guys, TJ Ward, Chris Harris, and Ryan Clady. You can go back and forth with some of those guys, but I'd say at least 5 of those players certainly deserve to be there. Grant, who sticks out to you as some of the notable people that made the Pro Bowl that you're just kind of like, what?
Well, I would be looking a lot more at the Chiefs. I was looking a lot at the Chiefs because they didn't do very well this year, and also at the Dolphins and the Browns. They had a couple selections, and even though, looking at the team like the Vikings, and they finished 7-9 this season. Yeah. They finished 7-9. And don't have anybody in the Pro Bowl. And I know it's personal players and not just the team, but you have to have at least some talent to win a game, and then
usually a little bit, yeah.
And then you have 2 Jets. I don't even know this Sheldon Richardson guy, and I know Nick Mangold. He's a pretty decent center.
Yeah,
but
he's a very good center.
Some players from the Jets that it's they didn't do very well. And even the Lions, they made it to the playoffs, and they only have 3 players. So it's kind of a little bit of a head-scratcher, some of them. And I know, once again, it's not full team. But some of these teams, I think the Vikings, it's the most noticeable team that didn't get any. Because the teams that didn't get any were the Vikings, the Titans, and I believe the Jaguars.
And the Buccaneers.
And the Buccaneers. Yeah. So out of those 4 teams, I feel like the Vikings definitely should have gotten somebody. So that, to me, is the biggest glaring thing in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And with the Vikings too, there's just a lot of depth at possible positions that they could have had players go for. But yeah, it was I think a very good group of players this year. If you look at players on the offensive side, there's 8 wide receivers, just a terrific group of wide receivers, too. Antonio Brown, Jordy Nelson, Des Bryant, T.Y. Hilton, A.J. Green, Odell Beckham Jr., Golden Tate, and Emmanuel Sanders. You had something to say?
Yeah, I just want to...
You put a finger at me like I was like, what?
Just with your question, I just want to say, even though like I might have a problem with some like the Pro Bowl selections, it's kind of hard to say that one player doesn't deserve to go over another player, because all these players do in some way, shape, or form deserve to be there.
Except Earl Thomas. Harrison Smith's way better.
Okay, but
what about Justin Forsett, the Ravens running back?
What about
him?
Well, I think he got added because Arian Foster and LaShawn McCoy were both injured, so they both got added. I think he was the reason that happened, so he got added because of that.
Well, and see, kind of going along with what I was saying, like even though you might be able to think of some other players, he had 1,266 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns with 263 receiving yards. I mean, that's not a bad performance at all. That's a fairly decent season. If you're a running back and you break over 1,000 yards, that's a pretty memorable season, because there's a lot that don't. So even though you can say, oh, maybe so-and-so could have been over this person, I think they would still deserve to be there. So I'm not saying it's unfair, but I'm kind of saying it is a slightly unfair question.
It's unfair, but it's not, but it is.
Do they deserve to be there or not? So so Justin Forsett, even you might personally have somebody over him, but still the numbers that he put up, that's not bad.
Fair enough. All right. Well, last little thing we're going to talk about here before we go to one more break. John Fox officially hired as the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
Oh, we love the Bears. No, we don't.
We don't.
The Bears even sent a guy to the Pro Bowl, Connor.
Yeah,
but it's Kyle Long. He's a very
he's a very good player.
Yeah. But even guys, don't you have like Phil Loadholt and some of those other guys?
Yeah,
on your
Loadholt's injured, I believe.
Oh, maybe that's why. Either way,
I'm just happy the Bears didn't send Jared Allen. That
would have hit.
Yeah,
rub the salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
he's
think
angry.
I don't think he had a very good year.
He did not.
Jared Allen, no.
He left the Vikings so he could be on a better team.
LOL.
Hashtag sucks. Anyway, so yeah, John Fox added to the NFC North. Well, I'm gonna wait until the internet comes back. Anyway, so John Fox, hired now as the Bears head coach. Grant said you hope that he gets chewed up and spit out by the Bears organization.
Okay, time out.
That's a bit
I remember
harsh.
hearing that. I heard it.
I did not say I hope. I believe I said I think he is going to.
Oh, so you wish it upon him then.
I do not wish it upon him. I just think it's going to, because I don't think the higher-ups of the Bears organization is very strong. I think what has happened to the Bears, it's just gone downhill, and I think he's just going to be eaten by the organization and spit out. Yes, I did say that, but I'm not hoping it upon him. I just hope that he doesn't do as well as the Packers do.
I see. Wow. Bears fans, to you, Grant, said they're not going to take that crap from you, and they're going to make the playoffs. No, that's not. Anyway,
that's not going to happen
for a
stretch.
while. Yeah, one more break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The microphone is on for that. Welcome back to the back. Wow, so good. Anyway, welcome back. And we're going to play a little trivia. Grant against Connor in a tooth and nail fight to the death marquee matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we're done. Okay, sorry. Anyway, thank you, Joel Wolfrath, our one listener right now. Actually, he just sent me a text message. Anyway, thanks, Joel. Appreciate it. Love you, Joel. Anyway, so time for a little NFL trivia. And if you think you're smarter than Connor or Grant, which doesn't take much, you can maybe join us next time for the little bit of trivia. All right, so first question goes to Connor.
Oh, goodness.
Are you ready?
I suppose.
All right, which team went a perfect 16-0 in the 2007 regular season? The Bengals, the Rams, the Lions, or the Patriots?
The Patriots.
Correct!
Boom! What up, Grant?
That was an easy question.
Whatever.
All right,
Easy
Grant.
question.
Where'd it go? There we go. Which number did the great Miami Dolphin Dan Marino wear? 27, 76, 44, or 13?
13.
Correct, sir!
Give him 3 numbers that aren't even quarterback numbers.
That's not mine.
You got an easier
You
question.
got what?
All right, Connor.
Yeah.
Which NFL team's mascot is known as the Flying Elvis?
Oh.
I will not give you hints because that would give it away if I gave you options.
A flying
The
Elvis?
Flying Elvis. 10 seconds. 9.
Good luck, have fun.
I got no idea.
7.
The Patriots.
Yeah!
What?
What?
Where did you get that from?
Well, they're guys like
Yeah,
he's
you're
a
right.
Patriot guy.
Okay.
So I just
All
went
right.
with
Next
that.
question. Next question. Grant. What school did Matthew Stafford go to college at? Alabama, Florida, Georgia, or Texas? 10 seconds.
I am awful with where
8,
players went to college.
7, 6.
Let's go with Florida.
No, incorrect. Connor for the steal.
Oh goodness! What were the? Give me the choices again.
Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida.
Georgia.
Correct.
Boom!
Oh boy,
I guessed,
2
I
points
guessed
away
that.
from the
I was
victory.
going to guess. Texas was my next guess. No idea.
All right, Connor, I guess you're up.
Yeah,
So
technically.
technically you are. Head coach Vince, what the hell is going on around here at Lombardi? That's what it says in the question.
Oh, okay.
Saw 10 NFL seasons. Which team did he win 3 NFL championships with?
Oh, I don't know.
The Bears, the Bulldogs, the Colts, or the Packers?
The Packers.
Hey!
What up, Grant? I'm just so much smarter than you.
Obviously.
All right, Grant. In 1994, Minnesota Vikings Chris Carter set a new single-season record for catching 122 passes in the season. In 1995, that 122 record was tied by Jerry Rice of the 49ers and again by Chris Carter. However, which receiver outdid them both by having one more reception in 1995 and set a new record at 123? Herman Moore, Raphael Septon, Dan Cockcroft, or Matt Stover?
Before I answer this question, I want to say that these questions are a little bit stacked in Connor's favor. I don't know.
It's not even giving me the answer, so... No, we're going to move along. Sorry.
What?
It's not telling me the right answer. I'm sorry, what do you want from me?
Oh, it's not.
Basically, nobody knows the answer.
All right, and we're back. Sorry, we had a technical difficulty there. Trouble with the internet. All right, so Connor, your question, and for the possible win.
For the possible, I'm winning.
You're up 4-2, yeah.
Woo!
All right, so Connor,
Tim is calling me.
all right, and so they both got it incorrect. So with 30 seconds left, Grant. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, so Connor wins by default. 4-2. Connor wins.
I'll
over
take his
Grant.
Vince Lombardi question.
What?
Oh yeah. All right. Well, it's been a party as it always has been. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Bax Grant Show. Sorry about all the technical difficulties we had this time. Hopefully, we'll address those next time moving forward. So, From us to you, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. This is the Bax Grant Sports Show. Bye, everyone.